This is being streamed online. I am telling you for free that they will come for me after watching this. Here is what I think is the single most important characteristic that we have as Africans to which we must double click, that's going to position us for the future. It's not something they teach in business schools. You can't learn it in the boardroom, and there is no course on how to acquire more of this trait and this characteristic. That in an age where technology can outthink you, outdo you, and outwork you, it can't outhuman you, it can't outvalue you. The one thing that has been the glue, that no matter where in the continent we find ourselves, it is the single substantive fact that makes this one word a unison description of who we are. When we say, I am an African, that it means the same thing for me as it does for you, even if we don't understand each other's languages.
This is a short extract from an unforgettable, powerful call for Africans to reclaim their values and redefine their future from the famous Vusi Thembekwayo. What he said at the end is unimaginable.
Where are the men and women who are holding the line? In your spaces and your industries and your boardrooms, where are the men and women who say, this far and no further? I will not be part of that corruption, not be part of that deal, not be part of that discussion, not be part of that cheating. No, I will not be part of it. This far and no further. I'm so good, I should run for politics. What do you think? Hope. It's the one trait we must never, ever lose. The opportunity for us as Africans is to bridge the gap. It's to reach across the divide and say, what can I learn from my brothers in Lagos or Port Harcourt or in Southwest? My hope is this. First, that our generation will be a generation that can be marked by these two words, honesty and integrity. That our generation will be a generation that is referenced by the rest of the world and the generations that follow us as they that showed us that we could be a people of honesty and integrity. Second, is that our generation will be a generation that emphasizes fairness and justice. That we will go beyond simply that which is made real by the levers of power, but that which must be made real by the levers of justice. And recognize that those two things are not always the same. And third, that our generation will be a generation of service and generosity. A generation that extends itself beyond itself and reaches out across the divide. Are you willing to stand behind your principles? This is the age of men and women of principles. An age where the rest of the world seems to have lost its mind, taking 13-year-old infantile boys, dressing them up in drag and putting them to perform in front of old men who are attracted to children and refer to themselves as those attracted to minor persons. There's a word for that. It's called pedophilia. The rest of the world seems to have lost its mind. And that when men and women of principles used to speak up against these things, those who now live in vice want to convince us that vice is virtue, that wrong is right, and that if you dare speak on the principles of right and wrong, you are against progress. Well, let me tell you, if being a traditionalist and protecting the value of family and society and nation building and goodness and what's right makes me regressive, then call me regressive all you want. Because this season calls upon us that in an age where technology can outthink you, outdo you, and outwork you, it can't outhope you. It can't outhuman you. It can't outvalue you. The principles of what it means. We as Africans are the last frontier holding the line. And we must never forget that this is our season and our moment to hold the line. We must not lose principle. We must not lose hope. We must not lose faith. At 17, I had the incredible privilege of meeting Nelson Mandela. I just won the world championship in public speaking. And I arrived at his office to meet him. And he and I sat in his study for an hour, what felt like an eon. And my mother, in preparing me for the meeting with Madiba, said to me, "Look smart, sound intelligent, don't embarrass me." Still the three words I utter in my head every time before I get on stage. And I decided that the only way I could be a young man of any substance in that meeting, and young people listen to this because it's important, was if I said nothing but asked really good questions. The life you seek and the blessing you pray for is at the other end of the questions you ask. Ask good questions. So throughout the entire meeting, I prepared notes and taken notes. I was asking these really good questions. And about 58 minutes into the meeting, his assistant, Zelda, peeks her head through the door, a mark that it's time to wrap this up. And Madiba, in only the most iconic way Madiba could do, looked at me puzzled, and he said, "You know, when they scheduled the meeting, they told me you are a well-tempered public speaker." And I said to him, "Yebo, Tata." Tata, by the way, is a beautiful Xhosa word. It means grandfather. And Madiba looked at me and he said, "But man, you have not spoken." He then looked at me and he said, "Have you any final questions?" The question I asked him is the one I will ask of you. And the answer he gave me is the wisdom I hope for all of you here. I asked him, I said, "Tata, what is your hope for the future of South Africa?" And I want to take some poetic license and say, what is hope for the future of this continent? And Madiba looked at me and he said, "We need a little bit of faith." I asked him, "What is faith?" He said, "Faith is the ability to believe in the impossible. It is the ability to see the invisible and the ability to trust in the unknown." Now I know that you cannot see what's at the other end of this chasm, that you are not known of what's happening on the other side, but I promise you here today, as sure as my name is Vusi Thembekwayo, I am 6'2" Zulu and good looking, I guarantee you this, that the mark of what it's meant to be an African is we are a people of faith and hope. And that what I pray for you, your nation, for this church, and for our entire generation is that we will live by principle, we will live in hope, and we will be people of faith.
What you've just heard isn't simply a speech. It's a powerful call to action for every African and those who care about Africa's future. Let's start the conversation that Africa urgently needs. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this message to inspire action far and wide.